first time ever.
Warning act of terror.
We are ready to engage with a two-state solution.
Some of his most senior cabinet members
The drivers of a new economic age.
"20 drones, several hours, hundreds of kilometers into NATO airspace. Last week, Russia tested Poland and by extension NATO itself. The question is, what was Putin really hoping to achieve? And more importantly, did he succeed? Let's decode this latest provocation step by step. First, the basics. Around 20 Russian drones entered Polish airspace. Now, this incursion lasted several hours. Some drones traveled hundreds of kilometers deep, and 5 even seemed headed towards a NATO base supporting Ukraine. Now, Belarus blames jamming devices. The Kremlin denies everything. But come on, this was no accident. The facts suggest Putin was stress testing the West on 4 levels: Poland's unity, NATO's defense, NATO's will, and America's commitment. Now, why Poland? Because it's the main gateway for Western military aid into Ukraine. Also, it shares long borders with both Belarus and Kaliningrad, perfect for plausible deniability. And third, Polish politics. Prime Minister Tusk is pro-NATO. President Nawrocki is more cautious. Putin may have hoped to exploit divisions. Instead, the opposite happened. Both leaders stood united, condemning Russia's provocation. Now, here's where it gets complicated. NATO scrambled Polish and Dutch jets. German run Patriot batteries engaged. Italian surveillance aircraft joined. Impressive coordination, right? But let's zoom out. Shooting down a $20,000 drone with a 4 million Patriot missile. That's like using a firehouse to blow out a birthday candle. Effective in the short term, but completely unsustainable. Now, from Putin's perspective, this was gold. He not only mapped NATO's response times and defensive system, but also he proved that even a small drone swarm can force the alliances to burn through expensive assets. So yes, NATO responded, but did it deter? That's less clear. Poland invoked Article 4 consultations, not Article 5, the collective defense trigger. Within hours, NATO issued strong words of solidarity, declarations of unity, promises of more help. But Putin is watching the subtext. The alliance prefers meetings over confrontation, consultations over escalations, and to him, that signals hesitation. So let's just not sugarcoat it. NATO still leans heavily on the United States airlift, intel, nukes, and even leadership. The UN ambassador to NATO quickly tweeted assurances. But was Putin waiting for that? No, not at all. He was waiting for the United States president. 12 hours later, Trump commented, "What's with Russia violating Poland's airspace? Here we go." Later, he even suggested it might be a mistake. For Putin, that hesitation is the real data point. He doesn't care about NATO hashtags. He cares about whether Washington is ready to act decisively. And in this case, the signal was muddled. Let's step back. This is not new. Since Georgia in 2008, Crimea in 2014, Ukraine in 2022, Putin has used tests, probing for cracks in Western resolve, and that's the warfare all about. Every hesitation, every half measure he interprets as an invitation to go further, and then he plays. This drone incursion was not about drones. It was about stress testing the free world, mapping defenses, gauging unity, measuring will. So, did NATO pass the test? Poland did. NATO defenses looked strong but also costly, and we cannot afford this in the present day war. NATO's will was on display but cautious. America's signal unclear. The real challenge now is adaptation. Militarily adapting to cheap drone warfare, something Ukraine has already learned the hard way. Politically adapting to a Putin who interprets restraint not as wisdom but as weakness and vulnerability. And that's the real game of the chessboard in today's battlefield. There's even an emergency United Nations Security Council session today. But with Russia holding a veto, don't expect much. So the question is not whether NATO condemned the attack loudly enough. The real question is what changes now, because if nothing changes, Putin just got the green light to push harder. This was not just a drone test, guys. It was a test of NATO's credibility. And the results are mixed. What do you think? Did NATO show strength or hesitation? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. That's all from my side in this video. I'll see you in the next video. Jai Hind and Jai Bharat.